Hello everyone, welcome to Big Data Factory. I am Pranit and I have over 4 plus years of experience working as a data engineer. In today's video, we are going to go through real world data engineering interview questions that were asked during my interview with Optum. There were 2 rounds in total, and in this video, I will be covering only the hands-on coding and practical questions, not the theoretical ones. I have combined the practical questions from both the rounds into this single video so you get a complete understanding of what was actually asked. This interview was targeted for candidates with up to 3.5 years of experience. However, it will be extremely useful for freshers and students as well because the fundamentals they test are very important. So let me quickly explain how the interview started. Initially, they asked me to introduce myself. I briefly spoke about my background, the companies I have worked with, and the real-time projects I have been involved in. After that short introduction, we directly moved into the technical hands-on questions. The first question they asked me was, how do you find the second highest salary in each department using Spark? Now, this is a very common but important question. The key thing here is understanding that we don't want the second highest salary in the entire company. We want it separately inside each department. So I explained it like this. We use window functions. First, we partition the data by department, which means Spark will treat each department independently. Then, we order the salaries in descending order within each department. After that, we apply dense rank to assign rankings. Finally, we filter where the rank is equal to 2 to get the second highest salary. What they were actually testing here was not just syntax, but whether I understood partitioning and the difference between row number, rank, and dense rank. Then they moved to the next question, how do you calculate the revenue generated in each department? This was more of an aggregation-based question. I explained that it's similar to SQL. We group the data by department and then apply the sum function on the revenue column. That gives us the total revenue for each department. Although the question looks simple, what they were really checking is whether you understand how group by works internally in Spark and how aggregation happens in a distributed environment. After that, they asked me how to find the duplicates in a data frame. So I explained that duplicate records mean the same row appears more than once. The approach is straightforward. Group by all columns, count the occurrences, and then filter where the count is greater than 1. This ensures we capture exact duplicate rows. Here, they wanted to see if I knew how to dynamically group using all columns instead of hard coding column names. Then they gave me a small transformation scenario. They said policy numbers must always be 4 digits. If a number has fewer digits, we need to add leading zeros. For example, 75 should become 0075. Instead of writing multiple conditional statements, I used the iPad function in Spark, which pads the value from the left with zeros until it reaches length 4. This shows that you are aware of built-in functions and you can write optimized and clean code rather than complicated logic. And they asked me a small Python logic question. They gave me a list like 1, 2, 3, 4 and asked me to flatten it. I explained that we can remove the inner list and extend the main list using the extend function. The important concept here is understanding the difference between append and extend. Append adds the entire list as a single element, whereas extend adds each element individually. This question was mainly to test basic data structure understanding. Finally, towards the end of the round, they gave me a large SQL statement and asked me to identify the errors in it. It wasn't a small query, it was a fairly lengthy one with multiple joins and conditions. They wanted to test how carefully I could read and analyze SQL logic under pressure. So I went to the query step by step, identified the issues, and clearly explained to them what the errors were and why they would cause problems. I also suggested the corrected version of those parts. This round was less about writing code and more about debugging and understanding query logic, which is a very important skill for a data engineer. So overall, these questions might look simple at first glance, but they were designed to test your fundamentals. Window functions, aggregations, duplicates handling, string transformations, SQL, and basic Python logic. Always remember, interviews are not about memorizing code. They are about understanding how data is structured and how transformations logically work. If your fundamentals are strong, you can handle any variation of these questions confidently. So that was my overall hands-on interview experience with Optum. As you can see, the questions were not extremely complicated, but they were very fundamental and practical. They focused more on understanding concepts clearly rather than writing very complex code. If you're preparing for data engineering roles with up to 3 to 4 years of experience, make sure your fundamentals are very strong. Practice writing queries, practice Spark transformation, and most importantly, understand the logic behind whatever you are writing. I hope this video will give you a clarity on what kind of questions that were asked in real interviews. If this video is helpful to you, please like it and share it with your friends who are preparing for interviews, and subscribe to Big Data Factory for more real interview experiences and practical content. And also comment below which question or which concept made you struggle in your recent interview. I will make a dedicated video if possible. I will see you in the next video. Till then, keep learning and keep building. Till then, bye bye.